people will generalize anything to get views on social media. For
Of
example,
course.
they might say, all sugar is terrible, or like all sugar is good if it's in within a limit. Like, I'm sure that
Mhm.
a marathon professional marathon runner will not handle metabolically sugar the same way a small kid with diabetes will, right?
Of
So
course.
you won't give the same diet to both of them. So there are individual differences, and I definitely
Of course.
think you have to adjust. Let's talk about some of the most popular diets.
Hmm.
So, keto diet has received a lot of popularity lately. So, what's the deal with keto diet? What's your personal view on it?
So keto diet usually is the one that consists of 70 to 75% fat. Usually it comes from animal products. Then it's like 5 to 10% carbohydrates and the rest 15 to 20% protein. So they claim that this diet, when they follow this keto diet, they tend to lose more weight. They can control their blood sugar and some more benefits. But actually, we don't have so much science behind so many studies in a long term. Yes, it
Yeah.
might have some effects, benefits in a short term, but actually, we don't know if you're gonna follow this diet for like the next 10 years, what will happen, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
So my main concern with the ketogenic diet, especially, it's like it's very low in fiber, actually, because it doesn't include so much whole grains that are very high in fiber, that are amazing for our gut. So there might be some issues with your gut microbiome, concerns actually, and maybe with your cardiovascular system, because if you eat a lot of bad fat, it depends on what diet you do. If you eat a lot of saturated fat, then you might have some issues. Um, so it depends on what diet you follow, because it can be a keto diet, but you can eat 70 to 75% of good fat, like from avocado, olive oil, walnuts, from all of these good foods, actually. So, yeah, my only concern would be fiber with it. Because
Mm.
I want to discuss also later or now, if you want, about how important is the fiber for our
Mm.
health. It's
All
one
right.
of
All
them.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we can also touch on the saturated fat topic
Yeah.
for
Yes.
sure. Um, in my experience observing people I know, or even patients in hospital who did the keto diet,
Mhm.
and based on the literature, I think it could offer some benefits if it's done for a couple of months,
Mhm.
in the way that you also we don't know for sure if some of the benefits that appear in studies are from doing ketosis or
Mhm.
eliminating ultra processed foods, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you do the keto
Exactly.
diet and you get better, we can't be sure if it was actually the metabolic benefits specifically that
Mhm.
a keto diet offered, or it was just basically you not eating donuts all day and Cheetos, and that's why you
Yeah.
got better. So there is some
It's
ambiguity there for
possible.
sure. But like, I think the literature is clear now that after like 3 to 6 months of doing ketosis, depending on the person, the body needs carbohydrates again. Like it
Mhm.
can be pretty fine for a couple of months, but
Yeah.
after you
Exactly.
move past the half a year time period, then your brain will work better with carbohydrates. Your performance and
Mhm.
fitness will be better with carbohydrates. Like,
Of course.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend like permanent keto
Yeah,
diet.
there are some benefits short term, especially if you have like a chronic condition. The
Mm, mm.
literature show that it might be helpful, but I
Yeah,
totally agree with you. Like carbohydrates are essential for our
yeah,
health
yeah.
as well, like
So
everything else.
let's talk about the vegan diet. You're more on the vegan side. I want
I'm not
your
even.
views.
Hmm?
No, I want
What?
your views on the vegan diet.
Okay, the vegan diet. So, a vegan diet, basically, for the people that they don't know, it's a diet that excludes all animal products, and animal meat, fish, yogurt, eggs, of course, and honey also. And it's focused mainly on plant-based foods like nuts, seeds, legumes, whole grains, vegetables, fruits, and everything from the plant kingdom, especially. So we have a lot of science for the vegan diets actually, from and a long-term studies that show they're actually they're very beneficial to prevent diseases and actually treat some diseases and some chronic conditions like cardiovascular diseases, let's say, because they are very high in fiber. And as we said, fiber is essential for our gut microbiome, and the gut microbiome plays crucial role in our health. And also, they are very high in antioxidants, and which are like prevents disease. They help us like to treat a lot of conditions also. So now what happens with the vegan diet that I've seen also to a lot of my patients is that people transition to a vegan diet. They actually follow what they follow. They eat a lot of processed foods, like this, like vegan meats, like cheese. All this fake food. That actually it's like very bad for your health. It's
Yeah,
saturated
like
fat.
vegan.
The same thing.
In my opinion, vegans used to be some of the healthiest people actually, especially the vegans who cared about protein and like they
Mm-hmm.
didn't just eat tomatoes and avocados, but
Yeah.
especially the vegans who also took care of their protein intake. They were used to be some of the healthiest people on earth, but then they started consuming all these ultra processed foods like Beyond Meat and
Yeah.
like soy burgers with four different types of seed oils in them.
Uh-huh.
And then you saw a huge decrease in health biomarkers in vegans.
Uh-huh.
I think mostly because of that.
Yes, of course. Yeah, because they turn into vegans and then they eat this like fake meat
Yeah,
with fried potatoes, and I think because they are vegan, they are healthy, but it's not like that. You
yeah,
really
yeah.
need to be educated when you turn into a vegan diet because you need to make sure that you take all the micronutrients and micronutrients that you need. Because
Yep.
I've seen so many people that they transition that they don't know about B12, that they
Mm.
really need to take a supplement. It's not possible not to take a supplement if you're vegan, actually.
Yep.
And we know by science that it's mandatory to take it every day.
Yep.
Also, omega 3s, you also need to take a supplement or like make sure you have in your diet flax seeds and walnuts and like foods that contain it.
Yep.
You
Yep.
also need to be conscious about calcium that
Mm.
you incorporate in your diet every day,
Yep.
foods high in calcium, like green leafy vegetables. So you really need to be cautious and to really plan your meals and have a knowledge behind. Because if you transition to a vegan diet and you don't know what to do and what to eat, then you will have all these deficiencies that are very common, and you're gonna suffer and feel not energized, and it's not gonna be good for you actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's gonna
Yeah.
have the adverse effects.
Yeah.
So you
Now,
really need
now,
to be, yeah.
now that you mentioned leafy greens, I have another follow-up question.
Yeah.
Plant toxins. How serious are you about the premise that plant foods like kale and spinach, especially, contain plant toxins like oxalates and stuff like that? Like, is it something you're concerned about or not?
Um, Look, if you have like a diverse, like you eat like multiple things inside your like you have a diverse diet. Eating a little bit of kale is not a problem.
Yeah.
Actually, it's good. Like it's not. It's like if you take a lot of big amounts. If you have a balanced diet, you have take something from everything, it's okay. But there are like different ways to decrease these oxalates, like boiling or like cooking the vegetables.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
it's
also something very important because a lot of vegan
Mhm.
foods were meant to be prepared in a specific way that in the
Mhm.
Western world are not. So, for example, quinoa,
Mhm.
if you observe populations that consume a lot of quinoa that don't belong in the Western world, like Europe and America primarily, they pressure cook it, right?
Mhm.
In the Western world, we don't do that. Like if you go to a restaurant, they will just cook quinoa for a couple of minutes, or
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
legumes. They will soak them in water for like 2 days.
Of
Like
course.
we
Yeah.
don't do that usually. So a lot of people
Yeah.
who show bad reactions to plant foods, I think a primary reason
Mhm.
is that they didn't prepare the food right.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
cooking preparation is very important. Like
yeah,
especially like you said in legumes, soaking them overnight like reduce a lot of the percentage
yeah,
of these toxins. Also
yeah, yeah,
nuts. If you soak your nuts, you always have to soak. Like what I said to my clients, always soak them before, and then consume them soaked the day after.
yeah. No, that's
It's very
super
important.
important. And then also like as you very well said, metabolic responses differ. Like as you said at the beginning, not all people metabolize everything the same way. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've got a friend who's a vegan, and
Uh-huh.
she's also an athlete, right? So it's
Uh-huh.
a controversial area for social media. An athlete who's vegan.
Yeah.
Personally, I like eating animal foods, but I see her like thriving in terms of energy, in terms of sleep. So especially as somebody who's in and out of hospitals all the time, like I also see and observe patients and their programs and stuff. So if I see a patient who says that they're on the vegan diet and they're thriving and their sleep is perfect, their energy is perfect, their fitness performance is perfect, like I can't really tell them that what you're doing is wrong, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
can't just tell them, you shouldn't be on the vegan diet or on the like whatever diet, even if it's keto or carnivore or whatever. If they feel
Mm-hmm.
great and their biomarkers are on point, then
Mm-hmm.
maybe they metabolize this specific diet in
Yeah,
a
of course.
very good way. I think
Because
so.
as you said, like, yeah, it's different. Like, I maybe thrive on a vegan diet. You maybe thrive on a diet that is low in carbs. Someone else like a diet that contains like a Mediterranean diet. Like everyone is very
Yeah,
different. It also depends on the seasons, your age, your physical activity. That's why it should be personalized. But
yeah,
as you say, if the biomarkers are good and how you feel is another indicator, very important. These two indicators if are good, then just go for it, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
continue
yeah.
what you are doing.
Yeah. So, what about the carnivore diet finally, which is the last one I want to ask you about, and it's also I think the most controversial one. So, what's your take?
So carnivore diet is a diet that includes only animal products. And I've saw that some people also include some fruits, right? And some honey and raw milk.
Yeah, that would be like animal based. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also they include some fruits, some of them.
Mm, mm.
Um, so actually, what we've seen, and they claim also people that they have seen like short-term an inflammation relief. Like some of them claim, like if you have like let's say like a chronic inflammation in your gut, like IBS, they claim that the inflammation is relieved because of this diet, and it actually makes sense because they don't consume these fibers that the food has that maybe can irritate the gut.
I just want to add a parenthesis, if I may. I used to suffer with IBS for 2 years, and I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about very, very bad IBS, like pains that
Mm-hmm.
lasted for 3 hours and felt
Mm-hmm.
like giving birth. And
Yeah.
I actually cut down on fiber, and it did help somewhat, not completely, but it did help a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
it was primarily caused by psychosomatic reasons. So when I stopped having IBS, then I was
Mm-hmm.
able to eat fiber again just fine and be
Yeah.
perfectly well. So just
Yeah.
adding the anecdotal. experience.
No, no, no. It makes total sense because one of the major factors of IBS is stress and like mental and like emotional
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, so that's the trigger of IBS. But
yeah,
yeah, people that they cut on fiber, they see improvement, but it's like short-term improvement because fiber, as we said, is so important for our health. If you cut it completely, then you don't take the most anti-inflammatory food in the planet. So fiber,
yeah,
it's amazing for our health and gut microbiome. So yeah, you maybe see some benefits, but what I'm gonna ask for the ones that follow a carnivore diet, can you do this long term? For how many years you can follow this diet? Like, it's not so sustainable for me nowadays.
yeah.
Like, how you can like continue doing it
Yeah, yeah,
um,
it's
for a
difficult,
long
and
term?
then yeah, it makes personal life very difficult as well because sometimes you're just not able to have like just meat if you go out with friends or you're invited to a dinner and stuff. It makes personal life difficult, and then also I think it's the same thing with ketosis. When you're on a proper carnivore diet and you just eat
Mhm.
like meat and fish, um, then you're basically in ketosis, so you
Uh-huh.
don't take in any carbohydrates or sugars, and it's the same thing we talked about. After a specific point, like we see in the literature that from the literature I'm aware of, at least I've read
Uh-huh.
as much as possible, we see that the body after a point needs carbs again, so
Of
you
course.
run into the same issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also you crave them like you it's so restricted this diet that you really can like traumatize you sometime. Like you are not allowed to eat anything.
Yeah,
You maybe
yeah,
crave some like a cookie sometime and you cannot eat,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
my main concern with this diet is like it's very low in fiber and it can this have like adverse effects on your gut microbiome. Yeah, and you cannot sustain it in a long term.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
Mhm.
about the fiber, I've seen a theory which, because meat contains some of the precursors to some of the stuff we produce when we eat fiber,
Mhm.
that maybe you can save some of the damage that way. But I think that eating fiber in its original form, like
It's
cellulose,
very
creating
different.
the cell walls of plants, like is superior.
Mhm.
At least I think so.